Hello, and welcome to our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who, entitled The Pyramid at the End of the World, which, as we've discussed previously, is a nice return to the old classic, very long Doctor Who names. We're going to start off by looking at, or hearing, Sean's thoughts.
I want to look at my thoughts. That sounds awesome. I'm looking.
That's just VR, isn't it, really? Looking at your thoughts? Unless you want to visually do it, but then... Obviously, we're not operating on cameras.
I'll bust paint out and all.
We don't have time.
I haven't got the skill in paint either to do anything.
So what do you think of it?
I liked this episode. It had a great bit of tension to it, and also this episode felt like how every Resident Evil game begins with the virus.
Oh.
With the virus.
Oh yeah, well, it's an easy way.
Zombies.
It's the idea of
it's gonna be zombies and
If you go with the biological warfare, it's a nice, easy principle to work with because it's the idea of it's scary because we can't see it, we can't perceive it. It's a deadly threat.
Also, moral of this episode is don't go into work with a hangover.
And make sure to have spare glasses.
Yeah, and spare glasses. Or don't leave your bag in the doorway. All your glasses in your bag, not inside something. Sure, you would put them in like a case. Anyway, plot holes, Stephen Moffat. Plot holes. I would expect better from you.
Oh?
Actually, I wouldn't know.
What plot holes?
No, just the glasses not being in the case.
Alright. Well, not everyone, if it's reading glasses...
Just to protect the lenses from getting scratched by like a key or something in your bag.
Yeah, it is true. I have to admit, not everybody does that.
Well, they're just wasting
I can understand it, but...
when it comes to glasses. But other than that, that one major gripe I liked the episode with the monks coming back and being creepy and weird and consenting, which got weird after a while.
That was...
I'm used to hearing that word in some very different contexts. I'm like, this is getting weird. Stop saying that word. It's like moist. You can't say it. My mind goes other places.
I found it really scary because it's the whole thing of... It's kind of like, we'll give you your greatest dream, but you don't know what you're agreeing to as a result of it. Even then, it's, we will protect you. But you have to join us.
You have to want it. You know.
And even then, it must be out of love.
Yeah, fucking.
The whole thing of that is love is... it's the whole thing of fear is temporary, love is
forever.
eternal.
Like, ha! Love can be temporary.
Love can be, but it is right on the idea of if you look at any regime that's kind of built on fear, that's difficult to keep going because eventually the thing you're afraid of has to dissipate. You have to change tactic. 1984 does that. They even make reference to it. Love is slavery.
Oh.
It's the whole thing of if you love something, you don't want to let it go. You're right, you can be hurt by love and that kind of thing, but that's when love ends. The idea of love itself is, if it's the whole thing, if you love something, set it free. That, firstly, is absolute nonsense. Because generally, if you love something, you tend to be very selfish with it. You don't like sharing it. You don't want to give it up.
Handcuff it in your basement, or is that just me?
That's just you.
Okay. Shh, down there.
So that's where George is.
Yes. His knees were surprisingly easy to break. It's like that. You're not going anywhere, darling.
But it is a scary idea of any kind of totalitarian state, like I was saying, like regime built on fear. Fear works as a short-term thing, but it can't work long-term.
Well, fear gives you something to fight against.
Fear gives you something to fight against. Love gives you something to aspire towards. It's a greater goal to go towards.
That's for you, future dictators out there.
It works.
Says the person who wanted to get into politics earlier. It works.
Love is a greater means.
Trust me, it works. When my regime comes into plan, it will very well work.
I can give you an example of how hope is better. Hope and love is greater than fear. Do you want me to give the example?
If I said no, you would give it anyway.
Yes, I would.
So go on then.
Brexit.
This just got controversial.
It did.
Oh, he said it. He said the B word.
The arguments put forward in Brexit, by and large, a lot of the arguments, I'm not saying entirely, saying where they're rooted in, a lot of the idea, The campaign for Leave was rooted in nostalgia and the idea of a better future, moving away from the EU, the idea that we can attain greater control over our things, the idea of hope. It was the idea of this is a glorious future that awaits us if we leave. Now that's just how the campaign phrased it. I'm not saying that is actually the case, far from it. But the way they frame the argument, which is what I'm looking at in that situation, compare that with the campaign for Remain.
I thought the campaign for Remain was everyone who disagrees with us is a racist xenophobe.
Fear. Look at the economic uncertainty that you're going to have here.
Now, I still remember everyone who's against us is a racist xenophobe as the Remain campaign. And that was their campaign. And that worked out so well for Hillary when her campaign was everyone who votes for Trump was a fucking... That ended well for Hillary as well.
Exactly my point. You campaign on hope versus fear. Doesn't matter how misguided those views are, but that's if the arguments are, generally people will go for hope because fear.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. So I don't want. You're right. It's the idea of why you do something. If you do something out of fear, it's a little bit. It's a short-term thing. You're scared to do something is a knee-jerk reaction. When you spend time to think about it, you don't tend to do something too much out of fear. You'll do it out of love. Which is why love can be a very scary thing as a result. Because, again, it can be misguided. They're like the best of intentions, as we saw with this one. Bill made her consent out of love.
Oh, Jurassic Park 3. Sorry, I was thinking of something but Jurassic Park 3.
Some of the greatest, some of the worst atrocities have been done with the best of intentions. Exactly, that's exactly the argument as well.
Finally, Jurassic Park 3 was good for something. Finally,
I like that line. All right, that's probably the only thing I like about it. Really,
like the pterodactyls. I was waiting to see them for 3 films. They were
Pteranodon are very interesting.
They were meant to be in the first one, the giant birdcage thing, but there was never.
They were, but they didn't put them in.
I like Sam Neill.
Sam Neill's very good in it. I like Sam Neill generally.
Again. And the raptors, I actually like their little feathery quiths.
I do like the designs for them. The behaviour. We're getting off topic.
They got really intelligent by that film. They were basically human beings in that film.
Essentially, yes, they were. Anyway,
back off raptors.
Back to your thoughts on Doctor Who.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good episode. Fed on nicely from the last one. You know, with the monks and what they still don't really know who they are, since they did mention they chose to look like corpses, since we are corpses.
Because that's what we are. The whole nature of them was like, that is terrifying. Which is
the question of what do they look like, really?
Well, I'm also curious as to how do they have so much power, because they literally gave the Doctor back his sight.
Well, with their red robes, I was thinking of Time Lords.
Possibly?
They haven't got the collars, but the red kind of felt or velvet robes they were wearing. Just reminded me loosely of what Rasmussen.
It's not velvet, they've got different materials, and even then it's reds and oranges and that kind of thing. Which would suggest Time Lord, you're right.
Rasmussen wore his long coat. It was red. So it lacks the awesome collar.
They're scary though, even the designs, the idea, because they're all different, but they are corpses at varying levels of decay.
Damn zombies. Persian, you know.
Well, it's more like mummies. It's dried out corpses more than anything, really.
Mummies. We're in a pyramid.
Yeah.
It's
probably going to go for a little bit.
Sorry, I'm deflecting the topic again. But yeah, I liked the episode. It was, and next week we've got alien dictatorship of the world. Never done before.
Well, it's set about at least 6 months into the future as well. Because you hear Nardole say...
Then Hugo Weaving shows up as V and puts it into it. That would be awesome. That film is dreadful and a bastardization of the original graphic novel. But Hugo Weaving is awesome in that film.
Hugo Weaving is also... I like the music in it, to be fair.
That is a bastardization of that graphic novel, but...
Can you still remember? Because you used to be able to do the entirety of his V speech at the beginning, didn't you?
V's and I can't do it as eloquently as he did.
I like a lot of it.
A lot of good lines in that.
There are many great lines in that. Well, a lot of it's just based on the principles of sort of like I almost want to say libertarian. Well, it's anarchy type thing, isn't it? It's the idea of people shouldn't fear the governments should fear their people, which is what a lot of what the Second Amendment to the US Constitution is kind of built on. It's the idea of you should not fear government. If they ever become tyrannical, people should rise up against what they perceive to be the tyranny of their own government. We're getting really political with this one, aren't we?
Brexit. Let's just bring in
the Second Amendment to the Constitution.
More controversial than Brexit.
A few of them. But I liked it. It was very intense.
Yes.
Right from start to finish, actually. Because obviously it's 2 parts. It was leading on directly from last week, so
it goes into next week.
It's a 3-parter as well, yeah. But even then, this one led on directly from last week.
Mm-hmm.
It was very intense, right from start to finish.
This time, Bill's date was interrupted by the Secretary General of the UN, not the Pope.
Yeah.
This next episode begins with Jake getting interrupted again by someone else.
I almost feel it should.
Become a thing, I think. Poor Penny, just poor Penny.
Poor Penny.
Well, this is only our first date she's technically been on with her, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's going to be interesting.
I found it very interesting. It was very, like I said, intense. It was quite scary in elements of it as well. I like the dialogue. I quite like... Again, Nardal has some really nice lines.
He's
again.
dead. And, or not dead, but...
He's not dead. I think he's unconscious.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Because I like the idea of, can you do that? It says, yeah, I'm not just sexy.
Yeah.
What are the things you need to survive?
Yeah, was it...
Air, water, food, beer.
I agree to that. Beer is more important than me supposed to get credit for. How do you get through the apocalypse without being massively drunk? That's how I get through Fallout games, being massively drunk.
And we learned about how the Doctor got his lungs cheap.
Yeah, black market guy back in Iceland. Got some lungs for you. Yeah.
I'll throw in an extra kidney too.
Like just hanging through your coat, we're not going to be fresh. You need to keep them in the cool, at least a cool box, next to the beers. Beer, and then lungs, if you want one. 2 for 1. Don't you need to? Well, technically you don't need 2 lungs, you can live off 1. But yeah. Woke off again. Lungs. But yeah, I liked it. It was good. The monks. I like the monks. They're creepy.
They're very creepy.
Also, their mouths don't move and they talk.
Yeah, I noticed that last time.
Like Cybermen, we're going to get into the series. It's open and a voice comes out.
Since we mentioned about next week's one, next week's the regeneration.
Is it?
Yeah, the shot. No. The scene that appears at the end. One, the outfit the Doctor's wearing is the same one as the snippets we've seen of when the Doctor's regenerating.
Is it regeneration or is it trick regeneration?
That's the key question. I think it's a trick regeneration.
I doubt they would, 1, not reveal who the Doctor is, and 2, regenerate in the middle of a season. It's going to really annoy people.
It was towards the end as well, that's the thing. And I would find it, given that we know it's the Mondasian Cybermen and their Capaldi's favourite villain, but he doesn't get them, it would be really... Missy's back next week as well.
Who I read somewhere,
but next week...
Michelle Gomez's last season.
Yes,
this is her last something happens, or he just disappears. And,
are we getting Johnson returning as the Master?
Interesting.
It would be very interesting. But yes, next week will be the regeneration scene, the snippet that we've seen in the sort of season trailer, the series trailer next week. Because when the Doctor's shot, the scene you have where Bill shoots the Doctor, it's going to be an interesting moment. The room that they're in, judging from the looks of it, is exactly the same. When you see when you've seen some of those shots, you see by a desk, the statue on the desk has got the word "truth" written on it, which is what Veritas means, truth. And there's lots of little things like that that I saw an article about it. I think it was on the Radio Times in the last week, to do with how it's going to be part of this thing that the Doctor regenerates, and people were speculating that's how he get his eyesight back.
He just got it back.
Well, now he doesn't, but now we know he gets shot because Bill.
Then he regenerates and gets blind again. Damn it!
Now, I've seen something else. I saw it last night. The thing is, I don't know if it's fan-made or not. I saw the 13th Doctor type Doctor Who reveal trailer, which was well put together. The trouble is, I don't know if it was a fake one. I don't know if it was a fan-made one. Because at the very end, you heard a hello with a new voice that I immediately recognised as Chris Marshall. Because as we know, I'm damn good at identifying people based on the back of their heads and one word of dialogue.
So he gets most of his dates. That doesn't even make sense.
That makes sense, no, but cheers. Well, let's be fair, Sean. I knew it was John Hurt as the Doctor, but just when we saw the back of his head, I hadn't said anything yet. And I just said, it's John Hurt. And I remember you giving me a sort of a weird sort of side-eye for a minute before it was.
He's good.
I have my moments.
Identify people at the back by the back of the head. It's my superpower. It's a precise one, but that's what I got.
It's not useful, but damn it, it comes in handy.
I can become behind headman. I can recognise criminals by the backs of their heads.
Back of their heads. It's like, can you identify who it was from the lineup? Can you get them to turn around? Please?
Yeah, I don't know who you are. You just can't recognise someone.
No good with faces, but the backs of heads. Spot them in the crowd. Yes, I don't know if it's fan made or there's an official one. I think it's fan made.
If the actual reveal it would have been. The internet would have been.
Well, even then, that wasn't like the official, but that was like the trailer to when they do the reveal. But I don't know. Might have been edited. Might have been, because I know they did an actual one, and I think that might have been an edited one possibly. But I've no idea if it's the genuine or it's fan made or what. And even then, as we've said, it's very rare for one of the names that's mentioned, particularly the favourite, the bookie's favourite, to actually be the Doctor.
Oh. And they would pick a well-known actor.
Yeah, usually they go for ones who are less well-known. Again, Capaldi was known for the thick of it quite well, but not as current. Because the thick of it had been out, it ended quite a few years ago now, didn't it?
I believe so.
We'll see. I'm still interested to see. And even then, at the moment, as far as I'm aware, unless they're going to throw us off completely, we're getting our new Doctor at Christmas. Not at the end of the series, or even partway through the series. Unless they are doing the whole thing as a big red herring. But I'm trying to remember... Don't know. Not the top of my head. Yeah, do you want Mum's thoughts?
Oh, Mum's play-by-play of the entire episode.
Mum's upstairs, and I'm not bringing her down for it. This was her. I got 3 words from her at the end of it. She was very quiet watching the episode, apart from when she was complaining about getting Pringles. She went with, it's okay. She was left a bit stunned, in her own words, by it. I suspect I'll get some more detailed analysis of it, probably either later tonight or tomorrow.
And just more than she shakes you awake. I've just had an idea.
Once she's had time to process it. Because to be fair, there was a lot of heavy stuff in terms of topic and subject matter in this one. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I am agreeing with you. There was a lot of heavy. That pyramid looked really heavy.
This is heavy
that
talk.
plane did look fake. Sorry, the shot of the plane flying looked fake. Doctor Who CG's always been a bit.
As Mum said to me, is Doctor Who done on the cheap? Has it not got a big budget? No,
not anymore.
Budget, it is. It's got a reasonable
more
budget.
Than it had in the 70s.
Got a lot to do. Oh yeah, but comparatively,
it must have been less. The set's wobbled.
Yeah, it's true.
K9 couldn't go on gravel. I think an R2D2 could have trouble in sand, so. But yeah, I imagine it has more of a budget. It might not have. The Bees.
It has no budget.
It's not entirely indie, so you can tell.
It's Peter Capaldi. He's literally there for free.
He loves it so much. He's there to do it for free.
I would be unsurprised.
Might be. You never know.
Well, they tend to all be fans of the show. I mean, David Tennant got in trouble at school because a lot of his essays and stories were Doctor Who fan fiction. Doctor Who was how he got into acting.
And me and my doctor were flying off, and we were
in the TARDIS.
All awesome, especially me. Doctor said how awesome I was. I'm just going to buy most fan fiction I read. It's dreadful. Although some of it's better than what actually gets professionally made. So I'm better written in English. Come to think of it. Just the stories are crap most of the time. Or there's a lot of sex in them. Like, detailed. Like, okay, it's getting... This has gone past sexual into clinical now, in levels of detail.
Oh, God.
And then he put it... I don't want to know.
No.
Stop, delete.
No.
My mind needs to be purged. But yeah, it was a lot of heavy things. With Russia, China, and America.
And the United Nations.
What are they going to do? It's the United Nations. They spend more time complaining about Wonder Woman having boobs than actually doing anything.
You're not letting that
Wish
go,
I was
are
joking
you?
about that, actually, but I'm not.
You're seriously not letting that go.
I'm not letting it go. It's a stupid fucking thing. She can't be the ambassador for whatever it was because she has boobs. And is white. Well, technically she's not white. She comes from Greece. You can argue the technicalities of white. And how dare she have boobs? How dare she? And be beautiful. How dare she?
Was that a legitimate reason for it, or is that you going for a particular one? Is this you being a little bit selective? You're looking it up to send it to me or something now, aren't you?
Well, everyone was pissed off by it. I mean, everyone was pissed off.
How did you feel about
Annoyed.
it? I mean, her getting appointed in the first place.
And Linda Carter were both fucking fuming about it. I don't want the Guardian. I want to think that's actually the real truth.
Oddly enough, it seems to be the Guardians.
Anyway, we're off topic. About why I dropped Wonder Woman. But she's the... fuck it, we're off topic again. My dislike for the UN and the EU and Canada. But that's personal, Canada one.
Oh, Canada.
Don't encourage them. It's my favourite.
Don't encourage them.
That's my favourite joke from Archer. It's like, we attacked by Nova Scotian rebels and go attacked with what? Pamphlets about Canada's reasonable gun control? Because they're Canadian, they spend more time apologising than actually doing anything. Anyway, we done on this episode? Alright!
We've been very brief if we are.
Well, it's the second part of the part. There's usually very little to happen. I liked it. The monks were creepy. It's got a setup that's going to be interesting.
I'm very interested for next week.
It's like Bill's become a commando. She's wearing.
It's reminding me.
Tactical turtleneck.
What was the name of the last episode with John's? Not the end of the time. The other one. Martha Jones' last episode as an official companion.
Wasn't that the Cyberman?
You know, because you had the year that wasn't, the year that never happened. It's reminding me a bit of that.
Donna was a companion at that point.
No, it was Martha's. Martha's last one. Because
Martha's last one was Doomsday, and the one was like Men Ghosts. No, it wasn't. I'm wrong.
Doomsday.
I'm fine. Pretty sure.
That's Rose.
She was in that.
Martha. You had...
Oh, that was when John Sim was the master. I'm thinking of Turn Left, where
Yeah.
you had the alternate history where...
Yeah, it's not Turn Left, it's the other one.
John Master.
Yeah, because then they went back a
John
year.
Sim.
It was on was it the...
Valiant, or whatever it's called. The Flight.
Yeah,
the
the
thing from
Valiant.
the Avengers. Actually, it looked more like, whatever Captain Scarlet's base was, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Captain
Don't.
Scarlet.
That's a great TV show. I like the Mr.
It's a very good TV show.
You never did see them. You never saw the Mr. Ons. They were just the two rings of light.
What you ever had was this
And the
voice
lights.
of the Mysterons and the
And
lights
Captain Black.
to know that the Mysterons were
And
communicating.
Captain Black, who was clearly white, and that's clearly whitewashing in British television. Calling Captain Black and making him white. Insensitive much?
My mum is in a state of shock.
Did he mention Captain Scarlet again?
No, she's just come down,
Yeah.
and she's still in a state of
She's like,
shock.
I-
She's just poured herself a very small glass of squash, but not put much water in it.
Leaving
A lot
on the
of
edge.
The episode has clearly scarred
Clearly,
her,
she's been shocked by it.
and she is not talking to me, and I'm being ignored. She's going to bed.
Oh dear, it was that bad.
Says night to you.
Good night. She can't hear me though, so.
Sean says good night.
Yeah, off upstairs.
God, as if you've had a personality switch.
She's next tomorrow morning, just have a lunch. So how are you? It wasn't that much of a shock. It was, comes down tomorrow morning. What's the point anymore? Are we feeling alright?
I consent.
To what exactly?
Well, again, that's the whole thing of they never tell you.
Well, that's how you make it. It's not like every tricks to God in fiction.
Well, they never say what you consented to.
They never quite tell
or
you the
anything.
deals, the conditions of the deal, and they usually end up screwing you over in the long run. Always read the small print. That's basically the moral of this episode. Always read the small print, and never invite the UN Secretary General round when you're having a date.
To be fair, he wasn't invited round, he invited himself.
And look at me with armed soldiers. That's a bit overkill. They actually come in with armed soldiers. Other than for the hilarity of, they've been hilarious. Raise the question of, I assume that was UNIT.
If they did,
They never
actually-
mentioned UNIT. No, that's UNIT.
No, they just said they're from the UN, and specifically the United Nations Intelligence Task Force is a very specific thing.
The Brigadier and his
Though
fabulous.
you are right that they didn't appear. This would have been a perfect
Yeah,
episode for
weird
UNIT
to
to
happen.
reappear in, but they didn't.
It's just like it's just that it's so you, no, we can't use that as trademark. We're not allowed to use that. We're just the other guys, but not as good. Damn it! Where was UNIT? Failed again, Stephen Moffat. Tut 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 tut.
I suspect it might have been an idea he only co-wrote this one. It might have been an idea they had, but if they couldn't get the actress who plays Kate, then they probably wouldn't have done it.
Just be UNIT, just under the command of someone else. She's off somewhere, sorting something else out, or on holiday, she might need it, and they couldn't be asked to call her back. I'll tell you why now. Stephen Moffat didn't write the next part. Stephen Moffat wrote 2 out of 3 parts of this episode. That's odd. Well, he wrote one, co-wrote the second one, he's not writing the third one at all. That's trust. To trust your... I'm going to start this story and trust you to finish it in a way it won't piss everyone off. Good luck with that.
I liked Erica.
Erica was awesome. Also, wasn't what's-his-face, the other guy, the guy with the hangover, did he ever get a name?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
It began with a D, I think.
Dave. Call him Dave. Wasn't he what's-his-face from My Parents Are Aliens?
He's been in a few
Maybe
things.
that's what I remember him from. You never have a hangover at work, especially if you work in the Umbrella Corporation or whatever
Douglas.
they were doing. Douglas.
Yes, it was Douglas, played by Tony Gardner, who was in, you're right, My Parents Are Aliens.
That's what I remember him from.
He was also... I'm trying to find other ones that he's had regular slots on. Yeah, Last Tango in Halifax. Fresh Meat. Tripped. Bluestone 42. The Escape Artist. Was he in The Escape Artist? So he was. He was in the thick of it.
Well, I'll be.
He was in the thick of it. He was Dan Miller.
Something else I've seen, I can't remember what.
Quite a few things. He's
You do see him around. It's that guy from My Parents Are Aliens. It's like, I just showed my age again.
a lot of Armando Iannucci stuff, actually, as well, by the looks of it.
Interesting.
Mostly comedy, most of it would seem.
He wasn't destroying the world with The Hangover.
He's got 54 credits as an actor, 3 as a writer. He wrote 2 episodes of My Parents Are Aliens. What he got? He's got a credit of writing in the Armstrong and Miller Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Might have been Lead Balloon. I remember seeing him from.
Yeah, he was in Lead Balloon as well.
And I'm looking.
Quite
I'm
a few
looking at his
things.
filmography now. Anyway, yeah. I like Erica. Next companion.
Should be good.
Here we go. She could handle the crisis well. She could, even if she couldn't read it, I think. Because
Reading glasses.
don't people carry spares with them? So you get like boots. You get like
Reading glasses you can. They're usually quite cheap, but it's the whole nature of reading glasses. It depends if you buy reading glasses like just magnify type things that you get at the supermarket or bookshops. Those are quite cheap. You might not need them just because it helps. You can read without them. It's just they help it easier. If it's prescription ones, those are different. You can, but as we know, the glasses are actually quite expensive. Even then, it's the frames are the expensive bit. It's not actually the lenses.
My eyesight's perfect. Well, ish.
I have glasses.
You have glasses. Yeah, but you don't need them all the time.
I don't need them on all the time now. I need them for reading. I need them for reading and when I'm looking at a screen or something for a prolonged period of time.
We're very off topic again.
We're talking about my eyesight.
Yeah, I think we should end it there before we get into weirder territory. Mum's thoughts were, we may get an update later. When she recovers and drunk the house.
Get an update for next week.
And drunk the house out, drunk all the squash in the house. Just takes the bottle of squash with her, just downs it neat.
God.
It's not as nice as you think it is.
No, it really isn't.
But yeah, I like the pyramids. The pyramids, not pyramids, there's only one at the end of the world.
I liked it. I'm very much looking forward to next week's.
Wolfenstein. But with aliens.
Next week will be very interesting. Because even from the trailer, it seems to be. Hang on, there's all sorts of things going on in that trailer.
Sold out.
Apparently.
I'm him.
Missy's involved.
Well, assuming Bill uses Missy. Who knows she's in the vault? I don't even know who Missy is.
We're gonna have. It's set 6 months in the future.
Yeah, but interesting meeting.
No, not just the meeting. I literally mean the whole nature of we're going 4 to 6 months, so we're not seeing immediately what happens. It's the idea of and here's
stuff
what the world
happens.
is now.
Let's say something happens to actually write it. It's a lot of work.
It's more interesting to write about here's what the world is like now.
Missy's involved somehow, so something's going to blow up. Missy's involved.
This will be the one where Missy dabs.
That's great. Can't wait. Who do I need to kill?
We'll see.
We'll see, but hopefully.
Yes.
And maybe John Sim.
And maybe John Sim.
You don't know where he shows up yet.
No, that's the interesting thing. This whole thing we don't know where he's going to appear. But he will at some point.
With Scythe, maybe like a 2-second cameo. Hey, and that's it. Damn you! Hey, he was technically in it.
He was in it. We didn't lie.
Didn't lie. Just twisted the truth slightly.
Which is what Moffat's actually usually quite.
Yeah. Lied. It's a half truth.
Anyway, that was our thoughts on the pyramid and the end of the world. Join us next week for the Lie of the Land.